Morning Joe host Mika Brzezinski recently gave an impassioned plea to Trump supporters.
I'm just trying to, because look, Trump supporters, people who support Donald Trump are people who should be respected for how they feel. But I worry that they don't understand that they're being scammed, and that they're being scammed by someone who's really good at it. So it's not like, it's their fault. But I will say, it's a scam, what Trump is selling. Talking to Gold Star families after the biggest gaffe in probably presidential politics, candidacy's history, what he did with the cons, is just trying to clean up. I mean, do you want someone who speaks from the heart and says nothing or says anything? Or do you want someone who speaks from the heart and has some principle behind it and sticks to his word? This is a scam. And it seems like he has a lot of followers.
Okay, so look, obviously this seemed pretty heartfelt, right? She seems very, very concerned about your average Trump supporter. Now, the question is, where were you back during the primary? Oh, right. You were there doing town hall specials on MSNBC with Donald Trump. You helped elevate this guy for an extra buck. Were the ratings worth it? And I'm sure your ratings were pretty awesome. But you helped promote Trump. Was it worth it? Look, this is your creation, Mika, Joe. You built this. And actually, I'm not just talking about Mika and Joe. I mean, look, the entire corporate media built up Trump. Story after story. Look, even the Young Turks, right? Full disclosure, I'm a network partner of the Young Turks, right? And look, they did story after story, Jank, story after story on Donald Trump. This is in the beginning of the primary, right? When Donald Trump was even getting ready to announce, before he announced. And story after story until the viewers came and told them, hey, guys, what about Bernie? There's this guy named Bernie Sanders that kind of needs some attention. And at that point, of course, only me and some other smaller network partners were covering Bernie Sanders as a serious candidate. This is back when he was polling at 4%, way before the Young Turks. So look, it's not just about corporate media. Sometimes new media does it too. And that's, of course, why I love you guys, the audience, because you tell us, hey, look, here's the story that nobody's reporting on. I would really like you guys to talk about it. And I love that. And that's something that you don't see in corporate media. But actually, on to the greater point. Trump is not, it's a creation of not only the media, but of course, certainly racism, but also a deep-seated anger at the establishment and at politicians and media figures in general. People like Joe Scarborough, people like Mika Brzezinski, channels like MSNBC. Okay, and Fox News and CNN, people are pissed, man. And look, I know a lot of people say about Trump supporters, but they're not stupid, okay? They're angry. Many of them actually are also afraid. They're scared of Muslims, some of them are scared of black people, a lot of them are scared of social change. They want their country back. Why do you think they say that? Well, I don't like the change that's happened in our country. I would like to go back to the 1950s and 60s. Well, it turns out the 1960s was a huge era of social change, of huge social upheaval. And they're seeing that, and they have this idealized version of 1960s America that, of course, isn't true. But they see that, and they're like, oh my God, I want to go back. I want to go back to the ideal time, away from this social change, back when we were in charge, when we didn't have to treat black people the same. Look, and that's, of course, some of them. I'm not calling all Trump supporters racist, because that's not true. But there is a large racial contingency in that group, or racial contingent in that group. Now, of course, some of them, surprisingly enough, don't even believe in the promises of the Trump administration. A lot of people are like, yeah, I know he's not going to actually build that wall. Yeah, of course, that's insane. But I still support him anyway, because he's actually trying to shake up the system. And of course, others driven by fear, driven by nationalism, and of course racism, as I've mentioned. Look, there's a lot of different components of why people are actually supporting Trump. I think one of the big ones is that He points out all the problems about America and he says, well, I can fix them. I can fix them. But look, the overall point here is that Mika is right. When it comes to Trump, he is a scam. He's in it only for himself. Unfortunately, of course, it doesn't matter how much evidence is presented that proves that point. People who support Trump are unfortunately going to continue to support Trump. And there is no line that he can't cross. For example, he kicked a baby and his mother out of a rally the other day because the baby was crying too loud. And you know what the crowd was doing? They were like, yes, go Donald, kick that baby out. We don't want that baby in. Get that baby out of here. Get him out of here. He can do no wrong. So look, she's wasting her time trying to appeal to Trump supporters. And look, maybe her coming out and saying this is penance for helping elevate Trump. Maybe it's self-preservation. Maybe it was a plan all along to raise him up because they thought that he could beat Clinton. And now that he's continuously stuffed his foot in his mouth, with gaffe after gaffe about, look, now the establishment is like, oh my God, what have we done? This was a terrible plan and it backfired. Because look, Donald Trump could win. He could win if he only attacked Hillary Clinton and attacked her with, hey, she's corrupt, she takes all this corporate money, special interest money, I don't take any of that money, look at her, she's subservient to her donors. I'm not subservient to anyone. And look, she was in favor of the deeply unpopular TPP, right? I was never in favor of TPP. She used to call it the gold standard. You do that, man, and shut up about everything else, stop attacking Gold Star families, and Trump could actually win. But of course, he's not going to do that, right? He has this, he has the opportunity to crush Hillary Clinton in a general election, but he doesn't take it. Why? Because Trump is Trump. And he can't be anything other than Trump. There is no reset button. There is no pivot. Trump is always going to be Donald Trump. And unfortunately for him, and fortunately for us, that could be his downfall.